Untied.
I know.
Oh my God, I love the black.
I love the earrings. The whole look, in fact. Your jumpsuit is awesome.
Thank you.
Hot.
Right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Untied Talk.
Hello.
Tare here.
And what's an eye?
Yeah, this week. I've been so excited about this one.
Yep.
Because we're talking about community. And it's looking at what it was then and what it is now. And if we still kind of share the same values as our predecessors. Is that the right word to use? Predecessor?
We can use that.
The people that came before us. Seeing we just came out of generational differences, we thought this would be really interesting because in our culture, community is a very big thing.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So.
Yeah. Well, we were not designed to live alone.
No.
Yeah. So I actually think community is a great thing for one's mental health, for one's wholeness, and for a family to be able to operate well, knowing that they have an amazing support system.
A network.
To fall on, to rely on, to be encouraged by, and stuff like that. So, community back then versus now.
Yeah. So the first thing that came to mind while you were talking was how zvainzi kudhara anorora vekumadzinza. Is that the right word? Is that how you say it? Is that how it was said?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so how you would be encouraged to marry somebody from your neighborhood, somebody that the family knew because they knew them, right? So to avoid all these issues that come up in marriage where you get shocked when you meet the family and you're like, oh, I didn't sign up for that.
And the culture shock as well.
Yeah, the culture shock.
So to marry within
the area, so that, because, we know kuti pamberi apa pamaraini apa ndo panana ningi, ukoko ndo kunana ningi, ava vanoita zvakati, ava vanodai, that sort of thing. That was kind of where it came from.
Was it only that, though? Did it also have something to do with the whole kupirwa, kune a family, like, where a girl child is, like, promised to another family?
I don't know about that part, though, but I do know that the reason why they found somebody within the area was because they knew the family's track record. So it would be easier to know that their child is in good hands because they know
where
the
child
background.
is going. Yeah, if you look at it that way, that's good.
Yeah.
The one that freaks me out is when van pavairi pangozi and stuff like that, and then it's like, you can have our child. Or like, in fact, apparently, I think the offended family demands, and then they're given this child.
But how do you demand a whole being?
Well, someone somewhere up there will have offended these guys or murdered someone, and it's like, no, pane svikiro inenge yataura kuti imimi kutoti mutoripa ngozi iyi mototipawo like someone, and then that's it.
No, I get that.
I think.
But kana mwana wacho apiwa anenge ari kunoitei ikoko. But doesn't then now abuse and whatever come in, especially if people have unforgiveness in their hearts?
I don't know. I don't know how they managed to live through that, considering it was an open plan setup where this hut is here and you're my neighbor and you're just a few meters away, and it's like,
but still
vango garisana and stuff. Community back then, no.
Hakuna izvozvo tine mayadhi edu ane majurawo.
People have boundaries now. People do not have that open policy. You cannot just come to my house without telling me. You have plan for it. We speak and communicate, and you communicate how long you're there. It's not like just this open-ended visit.
But it still happens though, the open-ended visits.
It does, and I guess it depends on who the person is in the family, and also just how things work and how people manage these things. Because at the same time, community is good. Like what we said, we're not designed to live alone. So you can have boundaries that work for your peace at that particular time, but do you really want to live alone? we all want visitors. We all want to be connected to our families and stuff like that. So
Do we? Do we really?
okay, there's family and then there are relatives. So
how do you distinguish between the two?
I think the connection.
What do you mean?
Connection. Like someone could be a blood relative, but you guys have no connection. So put you two together, it's just
so how do you then distinguish uyako family, uyako relative?
By whatever you're going to cultivate between the two of you. If I'm going to decide you're a mango, and then and it's like, then we cultivate that relationship, we talk more often, we hang out, and our kids will get to know each other. But because right now, back then, because it was open, everyone knew everyone's child, and they all grew up together, and my child and your child would be friends, and I can speak into your child's life and stuff like that. Now, I have my own blood relatives who do not even know how many kids I have or what my kids look like or their names. But so and it has nothing to do with any boundaries I put in place to say stay away from me. No, but that's just how things have become now, where I think everyone's focusing on their own, and I'm focusing on me and mine. And and we've gotten used to it. We don't actually see anything wrong with that.
It's interesting. So you'll find the generation of our parents struggle with this one. Okay. Because it's like saying, because we're related, we must know each other, and therefore we must like each other. But just because we're related doesn't mean we have to like each other. It really doesn't, right? And it should be okay, because we're not going to like everybody, even your own siblings. You're going to come across a sibling you don't like, you know? And it's okay. It happens. You don't have to like each other. You're connected by blood. This is very controversial.
We can try to like each other, and try to make sure that you're not going to be the reason for this dislike that's there.
But it has to be a two-way thing, right? It has to have it has to be reciprocated.
Yes,
like you can't be the only one putting in the effort.
So
this is where I'm saying, Guti, if you realize and come to a point where you're like, but I'm the one that's always calling.
Then
I'm the one that's always texting. I'm the one that's always whatever. So it's okay to not like each other.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, with Hama, when they will need something, they will pop up.
Yeah.
And then also with kids, if my cousin's parents kept their boundaries that divided me and them, and then we're trying now to like get to know each other. It's a lot of hard work. And you're liking where you automatically feel like, I don't like this person. But no, it's because you don't know this person.
There's that.
There's that. And then there's the whole hapana. And it's okay. That one is and yes, okay.
Yeah. So where I was going with that was I bumped into a tattoo of mine, my dad's cousin, and her daughter. And her daughter is probably 10, 15 years younger than me.
Okay.
And the mom goes, so do you know her? You know, and in my mind I'm thinking, poor baby, she don't know me. Like she hasn't seen me from a long time ago. Like she doesn't know me. And it's okay, you know? And also for us to have a relationship would mean me being the older one making an effort to seek her out. But then also there's that disconnect because we're so far apart.
The generational gap.
Exactly. Yeah. So in a situation like that, are we faulted for not having a relationship? Are we faulted for our children not knowing each other? Yes, when she's old and she's now at a certain stage, she can seek out the relationship because now it's on her terms, right?
Yeah.
And she's, you know, as you get older, you start understanding things a lot differently.
Yeah.
You start understanding relationships better.
Yeah.
So you even have relationships with people you never did when you were younger.
Yes.
Right? Even though there's a gap. Yes. So then it makes sense. But that whole knowing, yes, Kudara, there was the sense of community, Hama, everyone knows each other, everyone's in each other's space, in each other's whatever. It's very different now because we also live very differently.
Yes, we do.
We live in different places. We are not always in the same space. I mean, now to try Nana Zoom, Twitter. Oh my gosh. Hey.
We get it.
Yeah. Twitter, these family chats and whatnot where you start seeing people. But there's going to come a point where it's very different. Like I noticed with my cousin's kids, vari kuEngland vane a better relationship vanozivana than saying the relationship with their cousins here.
Okay.
You know, does that make sense?
It does. Do you think it's because when you're abroad, a lot of people, you don't really have anyone else?
True. You seek out your family.
Yeah.
There's that. And then also the proximity. They're closer. So
Yeah.
it's easier to create a relationship with someone that you can tangibly see.
Yes.
Whereas for them to create relationships with their cousins, yeah, it's very different.
Yeah.
And also realities are different. You know, dzakasiyana. You know, so I don't think we should make it a big deal that they're not connected as they should be.
Yeah.
I think it will evolve and become its own thing over time. I don't know. But this is where this whole sense of community, like community can be broken down in so many different ways.
Yeah. I get
if you think about it.
Yeah, it's just, unfortunately, you cannot really remove yourself from family.
No, you
given
can't.
the way that our families are set up. So here you are feeling like I don't need nobody, or now we don't know each other, so we don't need to try and get to know each other. It's okay. We're not gonna be faulted for not actually having a relationship or liking each other. Then mangwana you want your want.
Aiwa, but gatsabatirane like
akusibatirana kungoti iwo now. Also, sometimes we can say kubatirana and stuff, but it really is just this whole, sometimes it can be, you've just come from nowhere and now you need me suddenly, and now this person, of course some people are obviously gonna flex just for the sake of showing you good, right? Auntie Mamsi, you didn't need me, you and your mother, or you and whatever, you know, people can just be interesting. But I'm just saying, and then you want cha-cha, and who are you going to invite? Not to say people are going to say Andy because Andy Zivi. I'm just saying, yes, we've formed bonds with friends, which is good as we grow up. Then you reach a certain stage in your life where maybe you're now a mom, or there's something that needs your certain family members to be the ones to be with you in this particular thing, not a friend. Your friend will be there, but
they can't do it.
They cannot, and you will need them. So it's like, I get what you're saying.
But the counselor and therapist in me now wants to go deeper.
Let's go deeper then.
Because Pagadaro, is this older person making an effort to have a relationship with you and you're rejecting it? Or is it you are now, because you are the younger one, form a relationship? Like, what are the dynamics?
It's
because most of the time in situations like that, where you find that is usually where there's no relationship at all.
Yeah.
And none of the parties are being involved in the other person's life, right?
It goes two ways.
And it could also be because there's drama per generation yavo vega. Saka now wakupanishirwa chi zvinhu zvana mai vako. Saka pakadaro, should we really?
You know what? It goes two ways, and I think it depends on someone's character and personality. We have some adults who are just genuinely loving in families, who will reach out and make an effort to form a relationship. Then we have some adults who have this mentality from past generations, like we said, the generational difference, where they believe, no, you're the one who's gonna, which makes it difficult, because where are you even gonna start from? You know, it's hard, and that's a whole other topic. And the fact iwo kana kuti hama pedyo yababa vangu kana kuti amai vangu, the fact yokutoti tanga tisingatomboonani pesa apa means there's something going on, and now it all falls on us, unfortunately. You have a choice to just continue your own way and be like, no, there's a bridge between us and them, and this is how it is.
But what is the expectations?
You can also have a choice to just say, I'm going to try and be the one to say, right, okay, can we try this thing? If it doesn't work out, don't force, never, But just, I think, the willingness to actually want to try something in the first place, considering we were not designed to live alone. Okay. And we should not take on our parents' offenses and stuff like that. Not to minimize and say, waka, and just, let it slide and stuff like that. No. you get to carry on with someone, but with your boundaries in place, especially when you know kuti munhu anodai ndo zvaari chichichi. You will have measures put in place based on what you know, what they've done. Not in a judgmental way to say, and I don't associate with you because what, but to say, guys, this one is like this. So when I'm with this person, I'll behave like this and manage myself like that. See you when I see you, or and I guess you get to just manage what you can. Versus totally shutting out. Unless munhu kana ari muroi. Kana munhu ari muroi, do not even engage. That's just plain and simple.
But how do you know the munhu muroi?
Where it's like you hear stories about this person did this to the family or to the bloodline. And you're not even taking it on from a place of because you did this to my forefathers. No, but just because I know you, I know what you've done, and I don't know where you are. You have not shown me that I can trust you, but you're my relative, so we've got to live together. Good thing is, it's not kumusha set up where your heart is next to mine and I have to see you could see me every time. Good thing is now you get to sort of determine how far it goes.
Okay.
Without actually just totally. So yes, you can reconcile, but boundaries are good.
I suppose.
Boundaries are good, and keeping your peace is good as well. And if someone is going to pull rank and be like, hey, what would you need us? We'll talk about today, bruh, people have fake mbuyas all the time. And whoever really loves you people will cover up for you, and you know to. That's why I said, unless if I'm muroi. Because then that's like witchcraft mentality to want to punish someone.
True.
And it then just shows whether there's some underlying jealousy, hatred, and
whatever
anger,
it is.
and that's that person. What we need to know is now, okay, how to separate ourselves from how they have responded to me. To now not take that rejection, that treatment, and that hatred as something that's directly kwandiri nini kuti saka inini hama dzangu hadzindide, I feel like I don't belong, or whatever, and to generalize and then paint everyone with that same thing, then the whole community just becomes so disrupted, because I'm going to tell someone how I feel.
And they're going to take on my feelings.
And my sister, my brother, our household is going to have its opinion. The next one is going to have its own. Next thing, community, you will not see us.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, which our kids will still just grow up not knowing each other. Some of it is for good. Some of it is unfortunate, especially where there's need, or when things fall apart and stuff like that. And that's why the family support structure is supposed to be there in the first place.
Yeah. So by community, are we saying community machete? Or can friends become a part of a community?
They can.
Like if you're looking at it now, with where we are now, there's some friendships that have a stronger bond than blood.
Yes.
So does that count as community?
It does. I think it does.
And have we adapted that as community?
Unfortunately not, because next thing it's like and
but
people
who
will
says
actually,
that?
Some relatives, those that will feel left out.
We're a different generation.
Even current. If you're my cousin and if I feel left out, next thing it's gonna be like, hey, and it's like comments and like and you're just feeling inside.
It's just now in our family where we're like, you find out something at the end and you're like, but a secret in there. Because then you start to question things like, I'm not in
I see you want to know what's going on in my life.
Exactly. Like, how does that work?
As if you've told me your stuff. And it's like, bruh, you taught me that. No, I must keep to thyself.
This is why I then said my statement, just because we related doesn't mean we have to like each other.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that we've reached this place from a place of hurt. So if our parents were hurt by their relatives, they will guard themselves because I was hurt, Then they'll teach us these morals and these values and stuff based on hurt. If it's purely from, I want a friend that sticks closer than a brother, and I just want to be this kind of person. If it's from a healthy place like that, genuinely, I'm blocking these people because ABC, then it's fine. But if it's a filler because you were hurt and you're not wanting to deal with that hurt, or And I guess it's also excellent when you've really, really been rejected. There's some family with their stories out there where there's plain rejection, plain evil, where someone is like abandoned and left lonely and stuff like that. This person should not be alone. And if they find community and friends and stuff, excellent. I think that's good for them. And no one can actually come up later and feel entitled to an adult person because I am your community by blood.
Interesting. You just made me think about community in a very different way. I started asking Wadzi a few questions. So before I left, I was talking about how when we were planning this episode, I thought community was something completely different from what we talked about. But it's turned into a beautiful conversation because we're looking at relationships and, the impact of that. So then I asked her, our generation now, when you see a child mucking about, either in your home or out there in the streets, my mother, like I said in the last episode, would do something about it. She would actually go up and say, hey, don't do that, or go to the mom and say, tell your child not to do that because of A, B, C, D, or whatever. So I then asked her, what do you do? Because I was like, if your child was playing next door and she came home and she's like, I got smacked by Thingy's mom next door, how would you react?
Dude.
And in my mind, I'm like, well, my kids don't play next door. So we won't have that conversation because, they don't go next door. If anything, the kids will come here. But that's also very rare because I think we've become those, I guess the world isn't as safe as it was before when we were growing up, that it's not okay for kids to be in a space that you have no control over.
Yes.
Which then also now begs the question, community's definitely changed a lot from what it was then and where it is now.
Yeah.
Like I was showing my son where I would walk because we live in the house I grew up in, and I was showing him where I would walk to go see my cousin. And it's a sizable distance, guy. Like it's actually pretty far. But I would walk by myself, and then my cousin would walk me back, and then she would go back, or she would walk us halfway, or whatever, or I'd ride my bike or something. But now, I would never send my child alone to my cousin's house, but I would do it when I was his age. So much has changed.
A lot has changed, yeah.
And then also, to ask that question again, if you see a child mucking about in the street, what would you do? Would you say some?
If they're in my way. So if you're in my way, or if you're throwing stones at me, it depends what they're doing. If you're in my way, I will say something to the child. If the mother is there, and it's like, go, I will say it politely, I will say something.
Okay.
If they're doing something to my child, of course I'm going to say something. And it's like, stop it. Like I'm really going to reprimand the child. I will not touch them though.
Okay.
And I will remove my child from the situation. But I will tell the other one that what you've done is not okay. Go tell your mom.
Okay.
If they don't...
or what if you see a child messing about and the mother's doing nothing?
What kind of messing about?
What you know? You know.
Then it's none of my
misbehaving.
Business. It's none of my business because at the end of the day, it's not my child.
I think I would have to turn away because I can't pretend. My face just says everything I'm thinking. So I would literally have to...
Do you have to turn away though? You can just watch.
I can't because the mother will know I am judging her internally.
No, but she can see what her child is doing.
No, but what if for her it's okay? And she can't see, Kuti, this is not okay.
When you said messing about, it would have been nice to have an example because there are some situations where honestly the mom is really overwhelmed and this child is just overwhelming.
You're such a good
person. So there are
person.
times when I have offered a hand, like in a supermarket and stuff. I will say, do you need help? Even when I have my own mom of kids, I'll be like, but because Manka will be controlled.
They know.
I have offered, to be honest, where I can. But if it's like something that's like violent or something, I'm not gonna like, I'll just, look and mind my own because It looks like, because it's not my kid. But I guess it also depends on where my headspace is on that day.
I guess maybe the same with me, but Nango, my face just says everything I'm thinking. So if it's not anything nice, I will turn around and look the other way.
How would you feel when you see someone responding like that to you?
So, I mean, I've had situations like that where I've been on a plane with a baby. I feel like planes need to have like a mother section because you'll have people look at you like, why aren't you making the baby stop crying? How do you stop a baby from crying? Especially on a plane where you've been sitting in the plane for an hour. It hasn't moved, it's stuffy, and you have a baby. Of course, babies are going to get stressed. If you are stressed as an adult, the baby's going to be stressed. And then you have people say, did you try give them milk? Did you try this? Do you have a toy for them? Do you have this? And I'm just like, and I get so overwhelmed. Like in that situation, I got so overwhelmed that I started crying. Like I had tears in my eyes, right?
Sorry.
Because I was like, but guys, can you not see I'm also stressed? Like my child is irritable. They can't deal with the heat. We've been sitting in this plane for an hour. It's been delayed. And you're judging me about, do you have snakes? Do you have what? Are you mad? Are you serious? You know? So
yeah, unfortunately, people
I think
around
it
us are not
depends, like you
always
said, it
considerate.
depends on the situation. If it's literally downright child's being disrespectful, that's when I will be like,
okay, yeah.
and then I turn around. But if it's a situation where the mom is overwhelmed, yes, I will step in and help, you know. But I'm
Yeah.
talking about disrespectful, just
Okay.
rude.
Nekungowonererwa and stuff like that.
Kushereketa.
I
I don't know if you know how to translate that into English.
vanonopedzerana kumba kwavo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so community back then had an amazing support system.
Yeah, it did.
I think. Because even
did.
the whole, I think that's where the whole asking for salt from your neighbor came from, if you needed something.
No, you can't do it, guy.
Now it's
You
like.
can't even go and knock and say, ndokumbura to salt.
Torara nenzara.
Unotanga usangana nemboka pagedha. Saka rombodi. But yeah.
I don't think we have provided that safety that came with the one before. And here we're talking about the good part. We're not talking about the negatives of, how their community was set up and all.
Yeah.
I don't think we've provided the safety net that comes with that, which is why people are very protective when it comes to the selection of our community that you have as a family, as an individual, and stuff like that. And it should be okay.
Yeah.
It should be okay to just go where you feel safe, go where you feel loved and wanted. Yeah.
And actually, where you know that if you ask for something, they'll be there. Like if your car broke down, you
Exactly.
know that they'll be right there. I think that's what
Yes,
community is.
That's what it is.
Through thick and thin.
Yeah. With a genuine heart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So follow us on our social media handles at Untied Talk.
Yes.
And subscribe. Please subscribe on the
Yep.
button below.
And leave us your comments. Tell us what you think. Tell us what your experience is.
Yeah.
Yep. This is Wadzanai.
And Tare from us.
To you
With
love.
love. Bye.
Bye.